Do not buy the iPhone 17 unless you care about these 4 things. I mean, let's just be honest. At this point, the iPhone 17 has basically fully leaked. We know about 99% of what Apple is planning to change this year, and for most of you, you'd rather just skip this one, wait for something more exciting, or maybe even jump into the Android world. You can do that. Wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it. But for those of you sort of on the fence, wondering, should I switch to the iPhone? Should I upgrade my old iPhone? Is it worth buying? Let me give you 4 of the things to consider with the iPhone 17 that might just make it worth it for you. Especially if you've got an older iPhone, it's time. And maybe if you have an iPhone 16 like me, might actually make sense to move to the iPhone 17 and spend that money. Here's why. Reason number 1 is gonna be super controversial, but I'm just gonna say it because the data doesn't lie, and that is design. If you are someone who really wants your phone to look and feel different, you are just so tired of the norm and you want something new, you probably should go out and buy a folding phone because that is way more exciting. But if you want to stay in the Apple world for now, go with an iPhone 17 or at least one of the Airs or Pros because that is going to be more exciting and interesting because the design is going to be getting a bit of a tweak. Now, in all seriousness, the data shows that when iPhones get some more substantial redesign, they sell better. Like even Apple was sort of flabbergasted and was happy that iPhone 16 was selling better than the 15, but a lot of analysts say that's because the cameras on the back look different. And if you can tell just from glancing at the back of a phone that you've got something new, for many, that is reason enough to upgrade. And with the iPhone 17, we're expecting that, again, specifically on the Air, the super thin phone is gonna be totally new and different. And then on the Pros, you're gonna be getting sort of that new 2-tone camera bar on the back as well. And I will say, sort of in all seriousness, design aside, if you want something totally new that looks new and feels new, then the iPhone 17 Slim or Air, that's gonna certainly be the way to go. And then I think for many of you, if you've got an older generation Pro phone, as beautiful and as premium as that stainless steel is, Apple switching away from that has been one of the best moves they've ever made. We've got titanium on the 16 and the 15. Jury's still out on the 17 Pro if it's gonna be titanium or probably Apple switching to aluminum, which would sort of have its pros and cons, but one of the biggest things there, biggest benefits, is it would make the phone significantly lighter. So if you just sort of want a phone that is lighter and more comfortable, I'm telling you, as dumb as it sounds, switching away from that stainless steel does make a real big difference. So something to consider there if you're sort of on the fence with the 17 series. The second reason to consider this purchase is all about the B word, and that is battery, or specifically battery life. Now, if you're just not happy with the battery performance of your current phone, you do have a couple of options. I think Apple does battery replacements under certain circumstances, so you can look at that. Third parties will do it as well. But if you want sort of a totally new battery, and more importantly, just a bigger, better battery, then the iPhone 17 will deliver in almost all areas. We're hearing right now that iPhone 17, 17 Pro, and 17 Pro Max will be getting physically larger batteries this year that typically, when paired with the latest and greatest Apple Silicon chip, should give you better efficiency and in turn, better battery life. So if you're looking for a battery life boost from your current phone, the iPhone 17 series should deliver, with one big exception, and that of course is the iPhone 17 Air. When Apple goes on to make a phone super slim, super thin, super lightweight, you've got to expect some battery sacrifices here to be something to consider. And from everything we're hearing, it is going to be maybe not severely disappointing, but definitely at least a little disappointing. The battery capacity, just according to rumors, is not the biggest thing in that phone. So much so that Apple might be preemptively working on a battery case to sell alongside it. All that to say, if you go with the iPhone 17 Air, there will be a number of sacrifices in terms of cameras, in terms of screen size, then also in terms of battery life. So just know that that phone is probably not going to be the battery king you're looking for. Besides that, you should be getting a battery boost in every other model in the lineup. Reason number 3 to consider the upgrade this year is about the screen, specifically ProMotion on the screen, because finally, at long last, it's like Apple is finally listening and they're bringing ProMotion 120 hertz to every single phone in the lineup this year. And I know Android phones have had this for years now. It's not the biggest thing ever, but I will say I still meet people every single day that are just sort of impressed with the ProMotion display of my 16 Pro, especially for those who have a couple of older generation iPhones, or even if you just haven't used a Pro iPhone, that ProMotion just makes a real big difference. In fact, for many, it's not even like the chip or the processor or any of that stuff or the RAM. It's the phone feels faster because of that 120 hertz ProMotion, which is really, really nice. And for those who have used it, they'll tell you they like it as well. Before I get to number 4, of course, there are some other smaller things here that some of you will care about, some of you won't. Wi-Fi 7 support, the new Apple Silicon chip. There are new colors, by the way. If that's how you make your phone buying decisions, you will have some new colors to choose from across the board. There are some other technical upgrades here. There are some other, sort of solid upgrades here, but by and large, the iPhone 17 isn't the biggest upgrade ever. Of course, the caveat there is it's all sort of relative to the phone you've got right now. But with that being said, there is one more reason you may want to upgrade, even for me, going from the 16 Pro to a 17 Pro. And of course, the reason for that is the upgraded camera. And again, it's not like there's some like monumental major upgrade from generation to generation, but at least for me, I use my iPhone camera so much for photos and videos every single day. Like not a day goes by that I'm not taking a photo or video on this thing, that for me, having the best camera in my pocket at all times is important, and the iPhone 17 series will deliver that. So we're gonna be getting a 24 megapixel selfie camera on every single phone, so that'll be great. And then on the 17 and 17 Air, you'll get sort of a nicer, sort of solid main camera setup. But on the 17 Pro, a couple of things we should be seeing. We could be getting an improved optical zoom for the telephoto zoom lens. We're hearing that 8K video recording might finally be a thing this year. And then also for the Pros, whether this makes sense or not to you is kind of, I guess, your opinion. Drop a comment down below. But we're hearing that the Pros might have an exclusive feature that'll let you record both the front camera and the rear camera at the exact same time. I know there are apps out there that can do it. The Rode has got an app. I'm showing you footage of it right now. It can do it. But if you want that natively in your iPhone's camera app, that might be a thing just for the Pro cameras. Now, again, 16 to 17, not the biggest deal ever, but if you've got a 15 or a 14 or a 13 or a 12, you're not only making a leap and getting a bunch of other upgrades, but you're gonna be getting a significantly better camera. And I think that's always the thing that I look at. That's sort of the way I give advice to people, is what phone generation do you have right now? Is your battery sort of failing you? Is the phone not lasting a full day? Does it feel sluggish? Are you running out of space? And maybe more importantly, if you have an older generation with a camera that could, use some improvement and things like that, making that investment, not just sort of spending the money, but making a true investment in a new phone is a very worthwhile thing to do. And I think if you've got a 14 or before, you're sort of, waiting that 3 generation mark, that's probably a good benchmark these days. You should be happy about the abundance of improvements that'll be here with the 17. Now, if you don't care about camera that much, if you've got a dedicated camera, if your battery life is still good and you don't give a flip or flop about the design of the phone, then you have my blessing as an Apple guy in your life. Do not upgrade. Do not waste the money. Don't give Apple marketing the power they want. Just save your money and be happy, because it's just not worth it. But again, if you've got an older phone or you care about battery life, screen, design, or camera, then that might just be reason enough to get you to upgrade to the latest phone. Remember, pricing is likely gonna be a little bit more expensive this year, so start saving if you haven't already. And then we should be getting an official reveal very soon. Like I think in early September 9th possibly is the date for the event. Of course, if you want the latest news on iPhone 17, subscribe to the channel. I'll keep you guys updated in the loop. And until then, I appreciate you watching. There's other videos you can check out that should be right over here of other videos popping up in a moment on things you can check out. So thanks guys so much for watching. Appreciate you all. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see ya in the next one.